boys and girls, this art project is the inspiration of Raewyn Harris from New Zealand, and how she incorporated the Maori spiral from the tattoos and also the Koru spiral plant in this artwork. I'm going to demonstrate to you how you're going to create a wet on wet technique, but also a resist technique. So you're combining two painting techniques in one. This is a mixed media project, and we're going to be using different medias to get a final result. As I said earlier, I'd like you to practice first before you go into your original artwork. I've already started to draw my spirals and my organic plant life. When you've got it done and you've drawn it lightly so that you're happy with it, you're going to get an array of oil pastels. Pick the dark oil pastels, and you're going to be focusing on value while you're doing it. So I'm going to use black for mine, and I'm going to trace over the linear lines that I drew, all my spirals and organic shapes. What you need to remember is that we are focusing on value as well. So you have to imagine where sunlight is coming from. So if I pick a point on my picture and I decide where the light's going to come from, it's going to cast shadows on the other side. So what we're going to do is imagine we've got a source of light shining across our image. And I've traced over my lines, there we go. And I'm going to imagine that the sunlight's coming across this way. So if it comes across this way, the underside of these lines, I'm just going to do a little bit of shading so it adds that value. Value is lightness and darkness. Okay? Now, we're going to do the wet on wet technique, and you are already familiar with that technique where you're going to wet the surface of the paper. Again, this is heavy watercolor paper, so it can take a little bit of abuse. And then you're going to put your colors on the surface, and as before, if you remember, they actually do a lot of the work for you. When the surface is wet, they kind of move and blend together. What you need to now think of is, are your organic plants going to be cool colors or warm colors? And then your background would be vice versa. So I'm going to make my organic plants cool colors. Your palette, your watercolor palette, is very easy to break it up. So these are your warm colors, red, orange and yellow, and these are your cool colors. Brown's a neutral color, so green, blue and purple. First thing, lightly mist, don't flood it, but lightly mist the surface of your paper. I suggest that you get different arrays of paint brushes, so different sizes depending on the detailing. When you're drawing, don't go too tiny in your detailing though, because you have to remember that this oil pastel is a lot chunkier than your pencil point. So don't go with tiny detail, because when you try and trace over it, it won't come out as clear for you. When you're doing your painting, you have to start with the background first. So pull in the background. So I'm going to do my background in the warm colours. And as you can remember, when you put the colours together, they kind of join, they make that marriage, they make a new colour for you as well. And I'm dabbing it on and allowing the wet surface to do it for me. And I'm just going to continue to fill that in just a little bit with those warm colours. If you need to just mist a little bit more, be careful so that you don't over mist it when you've got the paint on it. You don't want it to go onto the other side where you're doing the cool colours. With the cool colours, because I said I'm going to do my plant cool, I'm going to go with the darker colours around where the value is, where the shadows are, and then lighten it up. With a watercolor painting, you can, because the light is going to be coming in from one direction, my light's coming in this way, leave a little bit of the paper exposed, so you can leave a little bit of it white. This is the resist technique. What you'll find now is when you're actually painting over the oil pastel, it's resisting the watercolor. So as you should know, water and oil don't mix. And now you've combined two painting techniques into one, okay? So you've done the wet on wet, and then you've done the resist technique. So I'm going to continue with that. You'll be able to see the finished product. When this is finished and it is dry, what we're going to do then is we're going to do a chalk pastel. So we're going to go from oil to chalk, and we're going to enhance it a little bit more and give it that velvety finish at the very end. And we're going to use a similar palette, warm colours and cool colours, to enhance it. So now it's your turn, boys and girls. Let's go and make some art.